planners and bullet journals, art projects, organized planner chic.
Well, hello and welcome to Organized Planner Chic. I'm Lucinda, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and select the bell for notifications. Well, before I go any further, I want to be sure and thank all of my patrons who support me on Patreon and make it possible for me to create videos like this. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate you. Well, today's video is all about how I use my bullet journal on a daily basis, but also weekly and monthly. And so I house my bullet journal inside of a traveler's notebook. I've pretty much always done that. And this one is from my Organized Planner Chic Etsy shop. It's a custom design. And so be sure and check out my shop. I can make any design that you want. And so I'm just going through really quickly and showing you I got some pockets in there and some stencils, which I do use sometimes, and journaling cards, some from my shop and some from my different friends. And then I've got some places where I can put some sticky notes, which I do use sometimes, which you'll see here as we go along. And this bullet journal is an Artist Loft from Michaels. I really love it. It's got nice bright white pages, and it's just a great $5 bullet journal. So I usually just kind of check in the morning throughout the day these different sections that I have that I decided to put in the very front on a Dutch door. It's my morning routine and like my midday routine, my evening routine, and my weekend and night. So instead of writing it out all every day or even every month on a monthly spread setup, I decided to put it in here in the front, and I can just reference it. Some things I just know automatically, and I always do, and I don't need to look back at it. But certain things like the news, I do tend to forget to check that. So I do about, around breakfast and lunch, dinner time, I check back to make sure that I didn't miss something that I really want to do every day as part of my routine that helps keep me aware, helps keep me healthy, like my exercise, my stretching, my diet, and those kinds of things. And then and the very front, each day I just check to make sure I've noted anything that's changed in terms of completing certain pages for sections. So since this is the beginning of a new month, then I'm writing down when the last page number for the month of April and the first page number for the month of May. And then I'm supposed to regularly be putting pictures here in the year and pictures, and I have not been doing that. I'm going out of town on vacation for about 10 days, so I plan on doing some of that while I'm gone. And then this is my year to glance, which I do look at every month whenever I set up my new calendar. And then I clearly use my future log and write down all of my appointments and everything coming up. And then I had created this page. It was possible outings for the year, but I really didn't use it, so I won't be using that on my next bullet journal. And then this is for things that are going to be happening for the next year. So sometimes I do schedule things that come up during different days that's about a year out. I don't really schedule very much that's longer than a year out, although I'm going to Japan later, and so yeah. Okay, now this is my kind of my hard copy of financial tracking for my different savings accounts. I do not record in here the name of any of the banks or the overall totals for what's in the bank as a whole. I don't have any account numbers or anything like that, but I do record, because you might lose your bullet journal, you want to have that. But I do have different categories of savings accounts that I save for different things, for different purposes, and they're all set up as automatic transfers. But then if I want to, let's say I'm saving for a plane ticket in a savings account, and then I'm getting ready to buy that ticket, or I've bought that ticket and I want to transfer that money now from the savings to the checking account. It just keeps me financially aware and helps me budget based on looking at a smaller amount in the checking account, so that I don't, so I'm really aware of how I'm spending, if that makes sense. And then this section, I don't have to put anything regularly in here, so I'm definitely not checking on this every day I might flip past it. I know I'm aware it's there, but I'm a disabled veteran, and there's always different things going on that you might consider doing another claim for or increasing a claim for. So I more look at that periodically. Now, I do check this pretty much every day to remind myself, make sure I'm keeping track of my mileage for doing my oil changes and my tire rotations, which I'm getting ready to note on my calendar that it's about time for me to schedule my oil change. And also, my car is a 2010 Camry and it's in really good shape, but a couple of things inside are kind of wearing out. So like the visors are coming apart a little bit in that middle section that you raise up to put like lotion and stuff. I want to get that repaired. I was waiting until both the kids were out of college, but my son has a year left, and now that he's 23, he's able to get all his financial aid things on his own, and so that's one less child we're paying for tuition towards. So I'm going to go ahead and fix those things in the car, in the inside of the car. And so I was looking for, so this is something I need to do every day whenever something new comes up, is decide where I'm going to record it that I need to get it done. So I want to do that in the month of May. So I did write it on my goals for the month of May. And then I'm just noting or taking note here that I got about 5,000 more miles before I need to do a tire rotation. So I'm not going to worry about that for a little bit. And then I think I decided to go off camera to update my social media stuff. So you should see that here in a second. And so at the end of every month, then I will go in and update that with the new totals. And some areas of social media have grown better, ways that I kind of anticipated, so to speak, and others, just a little bit slower. Seems like Instagram's just a little bit slower than I want it to be. I think a lot of times people follow you, and then or is there some kind of automated thing that follows you, but they're really not necessarily interested. So you think you've got a certain number of followers, and you really don't. But anyway, things are growing, and some things, like I'm not as active on Twitter as I would like to be. I'm very active on Instagram, but it's grown more than I thought it would since I'm not as active. And YouTube is definitely growing at the pace that I've desired. So I keep track of all that. And then this is my vision board. I don't look at that every single day. I pretty much look at that about every week or so, because I want to be reminded certain things I can't check off until the end of the year with a percentage of how good I was at it, like my health and my spiritual things. So they're not like a task that I can check off as that's all done. They're ongoing, but I want to remind myself of those things that I need to be doing. And then other things that are like events or trips or financial actions, and then I'll put a star on there as I complete that. And then we're into the monthly pages. So yeah, you can kind of see certain things up there to the front. I do every day, some I do every week, some I do once a month. And then on my monthly pages, I've got my goals here, and I think I'm going to be speeding some of this section up. So I've added some things since I set up this at the end of April. I've added some things that need to be done, and then I'm going back and looking at April to make sure that everything that I needed to transfer that didn't get done did, and the things that I did complete, that I'm marking those off. And there's always going to be things that maybe I thought when I set it up for that month that I was going to want to do or were important, and then I find that I don't really want to do that, so I'll cross those things off as no longer applicable, and then I will mark all the things that I have gotten done, which I got a lot of business things done in April, not so many, maybe half of the personal things done. And so I'm transferring those things that still need to get done, that I really should get done in the next month. I'm not going to put that on my brain dump, because it does needs to be done soon. It's not something that just needs to get done eventually. It needs to get done soon. So I'm updating this, and then there was one video that I had planned to do, and I changed what I did for that one. So I'm just updating what I actually did for that, and then adding anything that I've thought of to May that I want to get done for the month. Yeah, so that's kind of how that part goes. And then when it comes to my monthly calendar, now I try to keep track, and you'll see here later, I try to put everything that I know of for the month on the monthly calendar. And then when I set up the week, I'll be flipping back to that week that's on the calendar and putting those appointments or things that I've written there on the weekly spread. But then I'll also add to the weekly spread things that don't have necessarily a scheduled date, aren't appointments, but things I want to get done that week, that aren't calendar things, if that makes sense. It's not like, okay, on this day of this month, every month you do this, every Wednesday you do this, every Monday you do this. Yes, those things, but then during the week, there are other things that I also want to get done, and so I'll put that on the weekly spread. But I will also, anytime there's a new appointment or thing that comes up, then I will write, let's say it's for the current week, I will write it on the current week, but I'll also write it on the monthly spread, and I will cross off both on the monthly and on the weekly what I've gotten done. And the reason why that is because you can be busy or tired or sick and only look at one calendar and not realize something is not on there. So I make sure it's on both calendars. And so here I'm just writing down something in my gratitude. Now this is early Wednesday morning, the 1st of May, but I already know one of the things that I'm very grateful for, and I don't know if you noticed in April there I didn't fill that out like the last 7 days or so. So it happens. I'm not perfect. I miss things. I forget things. I have to play catch up. But anyway, on the 1st here today, my knee has been hurting a lot, my right knee in particular, and it's feeling a lot better, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm just putting that there. And then we're going to move to my brain dump, which there are a couple of things that I have been continuing to carry over on my brain dump, and that is not good. It's not awful. Again, I'm not perfect. One thing could wait. It's the do not call list. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's a list that you can sign up for. It lasts for 5 years, and it keeps solicitors from contacting you. Now, I don't know for sure if that still applies to this kind of automated system that's sending these things. I don't know if you guys get those from all these different states that are just randomly calling you, but I know I didn't have it before my do not call list thing expired, so hopefully that'll clear up when I do that. But you can just look up the number, and then you just do it on your phone, and it blocks all that stuff from happening. So I haven't done that yet. I need to do that. Again, that's no rush. But the next thing is more important that I still have not done yet, and that's to add the local, state, and national politicians, their names and their positions to my prayer book to pray for every week. So I really want to do that, but apparently I don't want to do it as much as I say I do, because I've been carrying that over for a few months. So you guys hold me accountable. Tell me in the comments, Lucinda, add those people to your prayer list. They need prayer. You need to get that on there and quit carrying it over. So that is a plan. I should do that as soon as I get finished doing this voiceover to get that done. So that won't be in my brain dump. And I don't have anything else in my brain dump right now. I think there's the things I've been carrying over each month, or not carrying over each month, but whatever I've carried over are things that I really need to do. So I've been doing pretty well. My brain dump has gotten smaller and smaller over time. So now we're going to the weekly spread, and I think I sped this up for you because it took a little bit of time, because it takes some thought. So, and there are definitely things from the last week that I got a little behind on. I'm always a little behind at the end of the month because I'm wrapping up really important things so that I can have that done and have all my statistical stuff for my business and tracking and all that together, and then start a new month really fresh and not behind on the previous month. And so there are some things on my habit tracker that I didn't mark, but I know since I only have a few things, it's easy for me to remember. I know I was in pain. I didn't go to church Sunday because my knee was hurting so much, and I love church, and I hate I missed it, so I didn't really get anything done then. So I do pretty well at remembering And then I try to put some decor, just a little bit, at the start of the week, but I definitely add things, memorable things that happen as the week goes on. So there on the very right, that beautiful piece of art is from Nubian Rock Chic. She's on Instagram, and I'm one of her patrons on Patreon, and I cut that out of the calendar for, I think, the month of March printable that she provided for us, which is gorgeous. She is amazing. And so I'm just putting things on here that were on the weekly calendar and things that I've thought of that I need to take care of. And then I've also, like I said, anything that I thought of on the week that I added to the weekly calendar, I went back and put it on my monthly calendar. And I'm just getting that all caught up and thinking of other things. I was kind of messy on my boxes there, and after a while, I think I went back over it with a Faber-Castell artist pen, a broader one, to try to make it look a little bit better. And it's not important. Really, what's important is that we get the important things done in our lives, and that we're aware of our productivity, and we're not just wasting time and not getting things done. And also, while not trying to be perfect, life happens, but this helps me stay focused and not spend so much time on all the things that I want to do, but do the things that I need to do first so I can do all the things that I want to do. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more right here. This is a cutout from a printable that I got for free from Jordan Clark, who's on YouTube and Instagram, and I follow her, or I'm one of her patrons also on Patreon. And so I'm just going right now and marking off the things that I have gotten done. And I know it's this is Wednesday the 1st, but again, I have to catch up at the very end of the month, just usually a day or two, because I'm getting all my monthly reports done for the previous month. And so I'm marking off the things that I've done. And even though it's pretty early Wednesday, I've gotten a lot done already on Wednesday. I just realized that I'm going to be out of town for a long time. Well, is it 7, 8, 9? Yeah, anyway, I'm going to be out of town from the 7th through the 15th, and so I'm going to need to do like a YouTube video every day between now and when I leave, so I can have them all done. I'm trying not to bring my laptop and just use my mom's if I have something with, like, for my tracking Etsy orders that I have while I'm gone. And so yeah, I really have to get a lot done this week because I fly out on Tuesday, and I'm just making sure I've got a good plan. Now there's some things that I will add that were maybe from the previous week that, like I said, I think I had a couple things I needed to carry over, and other things will just come up and I'll figure out what I want to do, or if I want to put that on a different list. And here's the finished product and for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All of my subscribers get an additional discount from my Organized Planner Chic Etsy shop, and that discount is in the comments below. And also, if you want to support me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. I also have a Facebook business page, which is The Organized Planner Chic, but my group is Organized Planner Chic Crew, and there I do frequent giveaways. Also, check me out on Instagram, at Organized Planner Chic. Until next time, happy planning.